Hi, everybody. My name is Chris Howe. I am the SEC Treasurer, and today I'm going to be talking about the request to use funds form. I'm going to be talking about some of the information that you're going to need to know before you fill out the form, some of the information you're going to need to know after you filled out the form, what the form entails, and what it's used for. And we'll also be talking about the different sources of funds that you can use to fund different projects that you guys would like to work on. So let's go ahead and get started. Firstly, what is this form used for? Well, this form is used to request funds from your account. So anything that you would like to purchase, all the purchases are made on your behalf. So some examples of things that you could use could fund would be things like club merchandise, jerseys, or club equipment. One thing that you should do is check if you would like to purchase club equipment, is see if it will qualify for a funding proposal instead. If your project is a little bit more expensive, then you may need to do a funding proposal rather than extracting funds from your account. So if you need help with this, just email scc@csumb.edu and we can help you figure that out. So moving on, we're going to talk about the funding opportunities hierarchy. So I know this slide is filled with a lot of different information, but we'll break it down together and we'll work on it. So firstly, at the bottom, we have the request to use funds. So this is the lowest level and requires generally the least amount of money. So for example, some things that you can use the request to use funds form would be things like hotel rooms, if it's around $100, mileage on personal vehicles, if you would like a reimbursement, if you drove to a particular tournament and you would like some reimbursement for that because you used your own vehicle, you can use the request to use funds form to be reimbursed for that. Tournament fees, league fees, and potentially jerseys could also be used for the request to use funds form. Next, we're going to move up to funding proposals, which is a little bit more expensive. So these may involve a little bit larger projects. And again, these are related back to our tiers. So if you're tier 3 versus tier 2 versus tier 1, the amount that you can use for funding proposals is going to differ because we all have different funding caps. So some examples of things that you can do with funding proposals would be like jerseys, again, depending on how expensive your jerseys are. Lodging, so if you have a large team of say like 20 people that needs to stay in a large house like an Airbnb, you can use funding proposal in order to fund that. Game balls as well. If it's very expensive, you can use a funding proposal to purchase that. And any equipment that you might need, you can use a funding proposal for that. Again, you can kind of mix and match with the request to use funds form. It really depends on what you want to purchase and how expensive that is. So moving on, we're going to go up to the material services and facilities form. I will explain this in a different video, but this is essentially for big ticket items, things that are really, really expensive. So some examples of that could be, for example, a scoreboard, a regular restroom for the recreation field rather than a porta potty. Disc golf baskets would be a perfect example for the MSF fund. A sound system for live commentary. So for example, if there is a game going on and you want to have live commentary and have commentators speak about the game as it's going on, a sound system would be perfect for that. So as I've mentioned, there are different examples of things that you can use the MSF fund for. Some of these will benefit all different clubs. So for example, if we have a scoreboard, then many different clubs that use the rec field can use that scoreboard for their clubs. But in addition, you can also use the MSF fund for things that are specific to your club and just require a little bit more money. So these are the different funding opportunities that you can use. One thing I do want to mention about these three different types of funding is the necessity meter that I have on the left-hand side, with the, as indicated with the little triangle. So the necessity meter essentially indicates how much do you need the thing that you want to purchase, or how soon do you need it. So for example, request to use funds, those should be reserved for things that you really need and very soon. So for instance, if you need jerseys and you need them really, really soon, probably not the best idea to use a funding proposal to do that, just because it will take a little bit longer to do that. Whereas the MSF fund, those are used for things that are not as necessary, will take a lot longer, but yeah, they are more expensive, so that's why they take so long. So that necessity meter sort of explains the different hierarchy and the ranking of how soon do you need this project to be done. Basically just go down the list for that. And then in terms of how expensive or how much money you need for a particular project, go up the list. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please email me at scc@csumb.edu, so that way we can answer those questions. And again, I will talk about the MSF fund in a different video and go into more detail about that. So moving on, let's talk about the request to use funds form, and let's go into a little bit more detail about that. First, I'm going to say it again, check if your request qualifies for a funding proposal first, because you may need it depending on how much money you'd like for that project. Again, if you have any trouble with that, please email sec@csumb.edu and we can help you figure that out. So some of the things that you'll need to know before you fill out the form are your club name, some of their general contact info, and your preferred contact method. You'll also want to know the estimated cost of your purchase. So whatever you're purchasing, you're going to want to know the estimated cost. You'll want to know the purpose of your funds, which I hope you'll know. So you want to include a special detail like size or colors. If you're purchasing things like merchandise, you'll want to tell us, if you're purchasing jackets, what are the sizes of the jackets, what sort of color, what sort of design would you like. You'll have an opportunity to provide a screenshot or files or a URL to your vendor's website, and I will show you how to do all of this through MyRaft. In addition, if your funds are for an event, please submit the request to use funds form 2 to 3 weeks prior to the event, so that way we can make sure you get everything on time and that you're not getting the materials after you've already held the event. If you're ordering office supplies, please use staples.com because we're able to get a government discount through their website. So if you need to order things like pens, paper, pencils, anything like that using your funds, please use staples.com rather than any other vendor's website. And moving on, after you filled out the form, fantastic job. Your order will be processed as soon as possible. You may need to provide login information. So for example, if you're purchasing jackets off of a website and you need to log into that website, well, you can essentially put all the jackets into the shopping cart for us, however you would like them designed, then just provide the login information so that way we can log into your account and then make that purchase on your behalf. You may be contacted for any other information needed to process your order. So if we feel that you have not provided enough information, we might just contact you to clarify some things and make sure that we can process it to the best of our ability. So let's see how this works in MyRaft. So I'm going to go ahead and escape from the presentation, and we're going to go ahead and move over here. So the link you're going to use is myraft.csumb.edu/groups. I've already pulled up the link up here, as you can see, myraft.csumb.edu/groups, and this is what our homepage will look like. The first thing I'm going to go to groups. Then I'm going to go to SCC. Go ahead, click on that. The next thing you're going to go do is go to surveys and forms. And again, this will look differently on my end than your end, so just be wary of that. I'm going to go scroll all the way down. We're going to go to request to use funds form. I'm going to go ahead and click edit. This is what it's going to look like on my end as an editor, but on your end, we're going to go to preview survey just to see what it'll look like on your end. So again, just to reiterate, this is the request to use funds form. Please provide as much detail as you can. And again, if you need funds for an event, please do so at least 2 to 3 weeks prior before the event, just to make sure that we can deliver those funds to you promptly and on time. And again, if you are purchasing office supplies, please do so through staples.com because they give us a government discount on all their products. So I'm just going to go ahead and move down the form, and we're going to talk about the different things that are listed on here. So again, email address, first and last name, your student group name. So whether you're men's rugby or women's volleyball, go ahead and just indicate that on this form for us. Your preferred method of contact. So again, you can click either email or phone number, and then please provide what those are in this comment section below. If you decide to click other, please indicate what sort of method of contact that is and provide how we can contact you through that method. Next, you're going to move on to describing what you're going to use your funds for, whether or not you'll be sending items to club members. The next thing, so for example, I should clarify that. If you're going to purchase, say, socks for your members, the language will be changed in the form after. But if you're purchasing socks for your members and you want to send them out, this is the chance that you get. So just indicate yes or no. And please provide the student names and addresses down here so that way we can send them out. If you have any trouble with placing the addresses in here or prefer a different method, just email us at scc@csumb.edu and we can take care of that and make sure we find a method that works for the both of us. Go ahead and indicate what your funding source will be down here and when you would like your supplies. Again, if you are doing an event, please indicate your event name, your event date, whether or not you have submitted an event request in MyRaft, which will be discussed later. And then some of the details about your order. So if, for example, you're ordering socks, please indicate how much. So for example, 3 red large socks. So you're going to indicate the quantity, some details about it, and the size of whatever product you'd like to order. And if you also want to put a URL of your shopping cart in here, you can do that as well. Your estimated expenses of how much money you would like to be requesting. A reimbursement for any of your purchases. So if you would like to, so for example, if you go to a tournament and you spend $50 on gas, driving everyone to that tournament, you can receive a reimbursement if everyone in your club agrees that you do deserve an reimbursement. And so you can select yes, and so you can get that $50 back from the club funds. And that way it's not taken out of your personal piggy bank. Again, moving on, does your website vendor accept credit card payment? You can include a file of a screenshot of your cart or images of the products you'd like to order, anything that could really provide some help as to what we need to make that purchase on your behalf. And again, here is a section. If you are providing a screenshot from your vendor's website or a URL of your shopping cart, please indicate your login information right here. And then lastly, this is just a space for you to use. If you have any other details that you would like us to know, please indicate them right there. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, again, email us at scc@csjmb.edu, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.